hopefully not. We'll be able to see a 5v5 actual game here, hoping for that as well. So yeah, so if Cyclone win this game, they secure the 2-0. That puts them at 11 points, and then they only need to win one game next week up against Excellence, the bottom-seeded team right now, in order to secure land. So this puts them in a great spot if they're able to pull this out. But Rival probably going to want to win this one, not having the game that they wanted last time.
Exactly. Do you think we're going to see any crazier picks that we saw earlier, or more standard to Rival?
I wouldn't be surprised if Rival says, all right, guys, you know, we're here to show that we're still the top team in Europe. Or, you know, we saw that Rapio looked fairly good on Uller. I mean, the missed axe stun early on those left-hand mid-camps did drop them the first blood, but after that, his axes were on point, and he looked pretty good overall. Maybe they want to try something else weird somewhere else. Just trying to find a couple niche picks for land so they have them in their pocket so that other teams have to worry about it.
Even despite the game that we just saw, they still have respect for Rival, still banding out that Fafnir, who, in the hands of Zenborne, is absolutely terrifying. So I like the respect band still.
He's the only one who really plays it, and he plays it really, really well. So you definitely want to ban it away. Rival here has a couple options, but going for banning the Freya away from no Styley. We saw the amount of pressure that he was able to get, finding the solo kill onto Atonement and really snowballing the lead out of that.
And I mean, I'm glad that they banned that out too, because even if they didn't have that issue with the solo, Styley just went absolutely crazy with it, went absolutely ham. The DC wouldn't have mattered. Freya still would have been a big presence.
Without a doubt, and he's just so comfortable on it. We've seen him on it again and again. And whenever you've got role swaps and different things happening, you want to, you know, there's going to be some miscommunication there. There might not be on the same page all the time. So you want to be sure to shut down the guys that you know will be on the same page, like characters like No Styley. You know he's going to be comfortable with DineOhSaw on the duo lane. Nothing has changed there. So you want to be sure he's not on his most comfortable god there.
First pick for Rival going to be Kuang. Want to go ahead and start off strong and start off aggressive.
And that's, I believe, is only the second time that Rapio's been able to get Kuang. I mean, Rapio is the premier jungler right now, possibly in the entire SCL, certainly in Europe. And Kuang, one of the most impactful junglers that you can get. Getting it over to Rapio here, definitely a good start for Rival's draft.
Showing some cards early on, Cyclone picking up the Odin, so Rival aren't going to want to pick up any sustain like a Guan Yu going into the Odin.
They may pick up the Guan Yu along with it. That's what they did last game, and it looked to be a pretty good composition overall. We saw Guan Yu go into the support role on DineOhSaw. He likes to play some off supports. We've seen him play Erlang support, some weird stuff along those lines. So putting him on a guardian or on a warrior definitely seems to synergize well with them.
Guan Yu going to get locked in with the Odin like we saw earlier on, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Without a doubt, now Rival with the next two picks available. We could see them go to the Raijin that Watson loves to play. We could see them go to the Robin that Gnome likes to play, or the Sun Wukong. Soul, Watson had a great game on Soul earlier this split, as well as I'm sure Atonement has it in his God pool. Definitely a flex pick for Rival here.
It can go either way, but Neith, also a flex pick, can literally go either way. They can see what CycloneGG draft and then decide who they're going to put respectively.
Exactly, just getting the most favorable matchup you can in either the mid lane or the duo lane. Overall, I'd expect, we've seen Watson on Soul and he's looked great, but I'd like to see him pick up this Neith. Let's see how he does with it and how well he can play it going into land.
That's going to be an Arachne pickup. We don't really see her often at all.
No, but it is played a decent amount into Kuang because it does do fairly well against him. So you can lay the webs down, and if he goes through it and then stealths, you can still see the web trail of where he's running through the jungle.
Really?
So it's a good way to track him down. You still get the speed boost whenever you're running on it as Arachne. So it's a good tool to try and keep track of where Kuang is.
The more you know. Even if Arachne isn't considered a top pick, a very nice pick into Kuang. Meanwhile, the band's coming through Robin and Jingwei. And that's pretty smart.
I like the Jingwei. I like the Jingwei ban again, keeping No Styley on uncomfortable gods, and those are the two gods for Gnome that we see him on again and again. Robin and Wukong both banned away here by Cyclone.
We've only seen a small handful of gods where it hasn't been Robin or Wukong. I think it's only been Erlang. Like Erlang and maybe one other.
Right, and now we saw him play the Erlang last game. Obviously wasn't able to do it very well because of the connection issues, but I'd like to see him go on it again. Let's see if we can put some characters onto our players that they haven't played a whole lot of, but let's show that they can play them. At least make other teams respect it going into the final week on the online stages and whenever they come here to Alpharetta.
Exactly. Rival banding out the turn and burn god Jingwei and Kronos, which opens up Vulcan for CycloneGG to take.
Vulcan, I would definitely want to see Neith in the mid lane here because she has a very positive matchup overall up against Vulcan. You can, yes, if he's very patient with his ultimate, it's easy to guarantee off the backflip. You could just shoot it right where the backflip is going to land. But overall, that route with Vulcan having little to no mobility really gets punished hard by that Spirit Arrow in the middle lane. Plus the World Weaver, again, no mobility on Vulcan, able to really have a good matchup there for Neith. Plus, the Unravel, her second ability, is so big that a lot of times she can hit the minion wave and the turret that Vulcan has placed as well, giving her extra sustain off of that.
And that's the biggest point. Gods that can hit the turret as well as the wave are great matchups against Vulcan. But last picks for Rival going to be the Bacchus and the Tyr. Very aggressive lineup. Meanwhile, Cyclone finishing it out with the Xbalanque.
I love the draft from Rival. I absolutely love this composition.
It's perfect for them.
It has CC, it has damage, it has disposition, it has everything you want in a team comp. Love the draft from Rival. On the other side, Cyclones trying, I think they got into their own heads a little bit, just trying to counter everything that Rival was doing. Okay, we can't give them Odin, we can't give them Guan, so let's pick Odin, but then we can just pick Guan because they won't pick it, so now we've got this great thing going on, and oh, they picked out Kuang, let's pick Arachne, and Vulcan is a good pick here overall, just a strong overall meta pick right now, but the draft from Rival much more balanced overall than that of Cyclone.
And what can Cyclone do? They kind of have this hodgepodge, this mixed up group of gods messed together. What's the overall goal?
It's an all-in team comp. There's not a whole lot of ranged poke. It's basically just meatball and backfire. Poison dart's easy to avoid at a long range. It's not very long range at all. And while on the other side, the poke from Rival is very, very strong.
Looking for the invade currently. A little bit of aggression. Bloakley and Ezzuna already putting down the spiders. Going to start with that first, but Ezzuna going to be forced to go ahead and back off because that's a lot of damage being taken off of the spider when she only was able to take the spiders.
Ezzuna has Wrath, but if he can't step up to the buff because he's taking too much damage, he can't Wrath it. Like the decision there from Rival, showing more experience than the other teams in Europe constantly, and there's another example of that. Rapio and Gnome know exactly what to do up against that aggression from Cyclone.
Why would you pick the spiders first instead of something to help be aggressive to steal this buff away, especially since they saw you?
Spiders is the most aggressive option you can go. They do the most damage at level 1, they slow the opposition, they speed you up. It's her best ability to get at level 1. But she was only able to hit the buff with them. It's just a decision. If you want to go for the kill, you hit the characters with the spiders. If you want to go for the buff, you hit the buff with the spiders because it's easier to tank it with that extra damage coming out. But still, Rapio and Gnome just immediately turn onto Ezzuna, making sure that he can't get anywhere near the buff to use that Wrath.
Rival able to go ahead and take their own buff still, take the fire imps, and then eventually take their own blue. Meanwhile, Watson getting zoned out by the same spiders we were talking about. CycloneGG able to secure their own left mid harpies.
And Watson's been able to free farm over and over again, and really only split a couple of waves thus far from Watson, which is going to put him slightly ahead in the experience department. You can see it already. Level 4 before Hyperionnn is able to hit it. We saw Hyperionnn go for this very strange full cooldown build on Isis last time. I'm interested to see what he's going to go on Vulcan here. More traditional Doom Orb, or if he wants to go full cooldown yet again.
I think because all of Rival is here, it may be better just to go more traditional, less aggressive. Just start building yourself up instead of the high risk, high reward, because you are going up against the top dogs.
Full cooldown to me signals that you don't trust in yourself to make your abilities count. That's the number one thing I think of whenever I see mages that don't traditionally go full cooldown. elect to go that route. Instead, you know, there's a reason that penetration is so strong. It just allows you to one-shot people basically with your ultimate.
I like this call. The rotation coming out from CycloneGG all the way over to the Gold Fury because they weren't able to use that Wrath to secure a buff. Instead, let's just go ahead and use it to secure the Gold Fury.
Great adaptability by Cyclone, and you nailed it right on the head there. You're not able to use the Wrath on the right-hand side of the map, so you may as well make use of it on the left-hand side. You would fall a little bit far behind. You were starting to see Rival was about to start to make a gold lead happen just because of the way that they were able to split up the different experience camps and buffs. But with that Gold Fury, it's going to be Cyclone in the lead now.
Zenborne gonna go peek around the Gold Fury, gonna be gone. Instead, he's gonna have to walk back to lane, not level 5 versus DineOhSaw and Styley, who have a little bit of a lead in that aspect.
And that's thanks to that Gold Fury. Gold Fury not only gives you gold, but also a little bit of experience as well. So them using that Rival, seeing that advantage on the side of Cyclone. Early level 5 for DineOhSaw, could have elected to go aggressive with the cavalry charge there. Instead decided to just, let's make sure we get our own buffs here. We're in the lead right now. Our team comp does pretty well at this stage in the game overall. We can allow Arachne to be aggressive. We've got a lot of base damage on characters like Guan and Odin, where you don't have to worry about their items as much. And then you've got Vulcan as we transition to the later game that should really be doing the brunt of the damage.
And it's kind of funny to see Team Rival's tactics being used against them. These early invades, these early objectives, these early plays. So, Rival, what can they do to kind of get back from that?
Let Gnome do whatever he wants. There's the World Weaver directly into the Fearless. Purification pops for Hyperionnn. Zenborne wants him real bad, but not enough damage. The meditation, the conviction. Zenborne's got nowhere to go. DineOhSaw up on the horsey, gets on top of Watson, forced the backflip away. Gnome by himself, no Lawbringer available. He's going to fall here as well. First 2 kills of the game go to Ezzuna on that Arachne.
I was going to say, on the Arachne of all gods, we do have an Arachne in the game jungling for CycloneGG, currently topping the player damage with 1,058 damage. We're only 4 minutes and 30 seconds in, and right now, Cyclone looking pretty dang strong.
If you had to choose a god for Cyclone to get those first 2 kills, it would have been Xbalanque, but after that, I would have liked to put them on Ezzuna. It just allows him to put the pressure that you've picked Arachne for so much more effectively.
Exactly. Ezzuna gonna try and put a little bit more pressure, get these spiders on top of Rapio, on top of Zenborne, but he's gonna get knocked up for his troubles. Bloakley gonna be able to rotate over, but with that disengage, the spiders don't have to worry.
Don't have to worry about it. Did take a lot of poke in return, so he has to be worried about the CC overall from Cyclone. There, the World Weaver coming out onto Hyperionnn, and all the dive onto Vulcan, probably not the best target. Arachne has no purification. She got that Wrath. Why go for the target that can purify away? Wrong target selection overall there from Rival cost them.
And I mean, she would be able to hop into the ultimate and get away, but then you'd be spending that ultimate or a relic, or I mean, in turn of a relic, because since she doesn't have it. So at that point, you still want to go aggressive on her, even though you know she'd be able to get away.
Exactly, and just forcing out that fight, securing those right-hand mid-harpies would have been totally fine for Rival. Instead, they try and get the big fight going, and it costs them. Ezzuna now 2-0-0. Hyperionnn gets 2 assists, and as well as DineOhSaw.
CycloneGG haven't been punished for this early aggression right now. Almost 6 minutes in, we haven't really seen any retaliation from Rival that hasn't been answered back by Cyclone. Rapio may be able to put their numbers on the board, coming around the backside of Bloakley. It doesn't look like the Odin realizes he's there.
No, but he knows something's up just by the way that Gnome is playing, and I like the heads-up play from Bloakley overall. He is going to get this Fearless away, and now the World Weaver coming out. Bloakley's going to die here.
Yeah, Gnome going to be able to get credit for the kill. I would have preferred to see it on Rapio, but either way, Watson going to be slowed by the spiders. Here comes the burp just to try and stop out Ezzuna. The knockup going to be good, as is the magma bomb, but there goes the ultimate.
Great meditation and conviction heal there from Guan Yu. Saves the life of Ezzuna. Now Rapio trying to be a sneaky dragon, not able to find Ezzuna, but is going to find Hyperionnn.
Hyperionnn going to pop out the ultimate as well, but the purification going to get him just a little bit out of the range, just slow, like out of the slow at that point.
And now it's going to be Atonement getting aggressed on in the left-hand lane. Ultimate is popped from Styley, but it's going to be Ezzuna who's going to fall 2v1. Atonement finds the kill.
Atonement now forced to use the disapparate to try and avoid Styley. It's going to be a boxing fight. There's one more hit, and they're going to go ahead and disengage. Winian's going to take it, but Styley going to be able to find it with the branching bolas.
Atonement just had to keep on backing up. Instead, stays long enough to get hit by the minions. Feels bad, man. Gives the first stack of the game to Xbalanque. That's an extra 5 power for him.
Gross. Rapio not going to be able to lock down anybody quite yet. CycloneGG able to just whiff their way right back into the mid lane in the safety of the tower, but the backfire going to do a little bit of damage to Rapio.
And you can see the pen boots putting in work already for Hyperionnn, definitely chunking the low health pool of Rapio there. So even though Atonement does die when he probably didn't need to on that left-hand side, giving Styley a stack on Xbalanque, at least he's able to get the turnaround kill onto Ezzuna. Definitely worth a ton of gold. He was sitting at 2-0-0. Worth a lot of gold on that kill, and able to get a turnaround kill in that 2v1 scenario is definitely a confidence boost.
Yeah, but CycloneGG able to help try to make up a little bit of that experience by taking the left mid Harpies. These still are a big point of contention. We're only 8 minutes in, even though it feels like it may have been a little longer.
A lot of action thus far. 5 kills in 8 minutes, a Gold Fury as well. We've seen it all across the map. Kills in solo, kills in mid, kills by speed buffs, kills in the left lane. It's been an exciting game to watch thus far, but overall, I love the team comp from Rival so much. It's just so balanced, so many strong picks in the meta right now. Cyclone's gonna have to snowball early and keep it going. They've got the slight lead right now, but Ezzuna's gotta continue to push that lead that he got. He's got the gold lead, but no level lead anymore. It's actually Rapio sitting at level 9, while Ezzuna's still level 8.
You can't let Rival catch up because they're good at playing from behind, but they're even better from playing from even or ahead. CycloneGG gonna try and stop this, or just try and bring it up a little bit further in their lead. Zenborne and Atonement here to zone out, but Gold Fury gonna be stopped.
Yeah, Zenborne has that Wrath, so they don't want to go in on that Gold Fury just because he would be able to steal it fairly easily. Ezzuna has to obviously be on top of the Gold Fury in order to use his Wrath, and it would have, and he would get knocked up by the belly flop, and it would provide Zenborne with a fairly easy steal opportunity. Wise decision making from Cyclone to just let it walk away.
Rapio not going to trigger the spiders himself. Instead, they're going to go ahead and get rid of those once the rest of the team goes away, avoiding that slow.
It's just very potent. Like I mentioned, it tracks Rapio through the jungle whenever he uses that water illusion, and it's just a very potent slow, does a ton of damage. I'm assuming Ezzuna is leveling that ability actually with Arachne. You'll see some Arachnes go for the first ability, which provides extra life steal and power, and that's actually what Ezzuna is electing to do. Gonna level up those webs second.
I still think it's crazy that we're seeing an Arachne in this game, even though it's very good counter to Rapio. We haven't really been able to see it used against Rapio thus far, and Rapio really needs to get off his high horse. He's already a level above Ezzuna, even though Ezzuna got the first 2 kills of the game.
And that's what Rapio just so good at farming the map at the right time, just getting all the farm that he can, and getting to that late game without Kuang. That gold lead getting smaller and smaller for Ezzuna now, about 100 gold, even less than that overall.
It's good that Cyclone were able to nab this early lead, but it's already falling out of their hands. They're less than 1,000 gold ahead, and Ezzuna may be able to make that. Nope, gonna have to hop into the ultimate. A little bit of a good heal coming out from DineOhSaw. There goes the ultimate there. Vulcan ultimate, the backfire, just trying to get away from Rapio, but he's gonna become a snack. Rapio getting a nice kill, gonna join the fight that's happening right in the backline. Bloakley able to take out Watson. Ezzuna's the next target, but gonna be able to stun out Rapio, but he's still chasing. He needs one more hit with the bird bomb. Bloakley gonna be able to find Rapio in the process, but Atonement gonna be able to find Ezzuna.
And now Atonement looking at Styley, just chasing him down, doing as best he can. No ultimate available for any players who were still left alive. Bloakley just getting in front of Atonement, absorbing that stellar burst. Overall, really good fight on both ends, isolating Watson in that cage, but the turnaround kill, as soon as Watson, they were starting to fight on that left-hand side with the Gold Fury, and then all of a sudden turns, uses the World Weaver in the middle lane, picks off Hyperionnn, who is picked up by Rapio.
Atonement already forced to go into the disapparate to try and get away. Bloakley is here. He's only 1 hit away, maybe 2 from getting out. Atonement just needs to go ahead and take him out before he gets taken out himself. But Bloakley, we've seen these Odin games earlier. They're able to survive forever. Atonement not going to be able to help them burn through this objective, so once again, it's going to pass right back over to Cyclone.
Bad communication miscommunication there for Rival. The call should have been for Atonement to just turn around and hit Bloakley. He was like 1 HP. Great root there from Watson. Look at all the damage that Ezzuna's taking.
And the Lawbringer over, going to be able to take out Ezzuna. Gnome getting credit for the kill. Watson able to take out Hyperionnn. This may be able to turn in their favor, but the Gold Fury still going to go to Cyclone.
That's the Gold Fury for them, but Rapio is here to try and clean up. Can't decide which target he wants. Then Bloakley jumps over, and the target selection is easy. The Execute going to go through for Rapio. That's his second kill of the game. Now 2, 1, and 2. Yes, Cyclone get the Gold Fury, but that's 3 kills for Rival, and now they can pressure this tier 1 tower in the middle lane, spread out and farm. Overall, a win for Rival. You can see the XP, even with that Gold Fury, heavily in the favor of Rival, and you're willing to give up a slight gold lead for an experience lead like that.
Exactly, because experience, that's going to matter the most early on, and then gold is going to come into play. But right now, just having that raw level difference is going to be able to help you have a little bit more points in your abilities and able to hit a lot harder than the opposition.
Especially on Kuang, now a 3-level lead for him over top of Ezzuna. That lead that Ezzuna got himself with those first 2 kills, now completely gone. 3 deaths since that first engagement where he picked up the double kill early. So it's looking bad right now for Cyclone. Yes, they got the Gold Fury. Yes, they've got a slight gold lead overall, but the late game potential from Cyclone is just nowhere near that of Rival.
And Cyclone weren't able to keep that lead that they were looking for, and we're not even to the late game yet. Hyperionnn taking an Intoxicate to the face, and then Watson going to come around the corner looking to try and erase Hyperionnn from the map. Gonna go ahead and back though, because I do want to start putting pressure onto these towers soon, plus the right mid camps are up.
But that's another wave that Hyperionnn misses. It's another 140 seconds that he has no purification, and I'm expecting that we'll see Watson and Rapio dive Hyperionnn in the middle lane. We'll see a World Weaver come out, straight into the Execute, just like we saw at the beginning of that fight before the Gold Fury.
Who should be CycloneGG's next target? Like, who should they be focusing in on?
You could look at Atonement on the left-hand side. He's gotten a lot of farm, level 13 now, looking pretty. But overall, you got to shut down Rapio. He's level 14 now. Getting a kill and slowing that farming rate for him is very, very important.
I mean, we're gonna see. We're already seeing it right now, 2, 1, and 2. But we're gonna see even more so later why you don't let Kuang through.
He'll one-shot you. He doesn't need his ultimate either. That's the scariest part, is that he can use that 2-3 combination and the water illusion. As when you get into the late game, that water illusion does crazy amounts of damage. Even if you sanctuary the ultimate, you come down, the water illusion's waiting for you, he pops it, it looks cool, and you die at the same time. It's a win-win for Kuang.
Exactly, and most people don't know how to use that to their advantage. You don't even think to pop it for the extra damage, but it's the positioning that Rapio has been showing, not only to find these kills, but also just to set up that damage that really makes him one of the best junglers in the SCL.
For my money, the best jungler in the SCL right now, but now it's going to be Hyperionnn, already dead in the middle lane. Ezzuna, no purification available, still hasn't backed since level 12, so Rapio is just going to look to eat him up. He does manage to pick up Zenborne. Middle tower falls in the process. It's Rapio up against 2.
Lawbringer coming through, able to push 2 against the wall. Supernova going to go through the opposition, though. Ezzuna forced to use the ultimate, and now Gnome going to get turned on by 4 members of Cyclone. But Rapio and crew are here to peel if necessary. I don't think they want to take this 4v4 fight quite yet, so we're going to see them scatter, or at least try to back off. That's going to be a good blink, though. Able to find the bird bomb onto Watson, completely chunk him back to health, but you're going to get rooted in the tower.
And now it's DineOhSaw just looking at Watson, has the purification, beads it out. Bloakley's gonna get fallen by Rapio. No Styley forces Sanctuary. Rapio tosses Ezzuna up into the sky. DineOhSaw picks him up though. That's a big kill for them. Big double root though from Watson.
And now Styley gonna try to dish out as much damage as possible, but Gnome's still gonna be able to take out Ezzuna, who's a good bit of damage for the team as well.
Ezzuna now with his 4th death. Now, at least they pick up Rapio. At least Rival.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Cyclone do find Rapio in that engagement. Very back and forth. I believe at the end of the day, it was a 3-for-2. Hyperionnn fell at the beginning of that fight, as well as Zenborne. So in Rival's favor yet again, though. The 3-level lead still there for Rapio in the jungle.
Nice push. Gnome gonna be able to steal out the speed buff. Hyperionnn wants to chase down, but the backfire gonna close the distance. You can just hear Manny laughing from that voice back.
I want that skin real bad. And
it's so good.
Hindu told me that if I carry him the diamond or on PC, that he'll give it to me. But he's so heavy, man. I can't do it.
Rip the dream. That voice pack is really good. You're missing so much.
I've been trying. I want that skin, but like, if it was like carrying Adonis, it'd be easier. Pekkies could have carried me to Diamond, but carrying Hindu is a tough task, man. I'm just a console guy, man. It's so hard.
He's not even here to defend himself either, poor bloke. But speaking of bloke, Bloakley gonna get a little bit of damage coming out from Rapio. But at this point, he doesn't have to worry too much. Rapio's not at that one and done for these tankier targets quite yet.
Not quite, but he's getting close. Almost has that Obsidian Shard completed, does have the Polynomicon, and the next item will most likely be either Rod of Tahuti or Soul Reaver. Just a ton of damage available to him. He could also go for a more defensive item, the Winged Blade, trying to negate the slows coming out of Xbalanque and Ezzuna.
This game is still ridiculously close, and I wasn't expecting to see it, but a nice two-man route, and then Stellar Burst gonna be coming through, and the Vulcan ultimate gonna shred through Team Rival, but CycloneGG just trying to get away at this point. Rapio gonna be in the backline. Surprise, you can't get away from the dragon quite yet, and DineOhSaw, definitely. You're in execute range. He's going to be looking for it, but there goes the ultimate just to try and close the distance.
He's going to blink in, use the ultimate. There it is.
Whoop,
Rapio
there it is.
Gets DineOhSaw up into the air. Now Bloakley, Hyperionnn, and no Styley just trying to stay alive. Hyperionnn is the target for Rapio, isolates him by himself in the middle lane. All the while, it's Rival doing the Gold Fury.
And, I mean, it's going to get interrupted, however, coming out from Bloakley, but he's going to get pushed into the wall, get intoxicated, get eradicated, whatever words you want to use for it, he is done.
And now no Styley forced to use a Sanctuary, just trying to delay Rival from getting this Gold Fury, but they won't be able to do so. This is going to be the first Gold Fury of the game for Rival, the third total, and we can see if we take a look at the graphs, all of a sudden a huge spike. That XP difference has been very steadily climbing overall, but the gold has been fairly even, mostly in Cyclone's favor actually, but now 2,000 gold in the lead for Rival.
That was the step that Rival needed. They've kept the experience pretty much in their favor almost the entire game. From 4 minutes and beyond, the experience has been Rivals, but CycloneGG have been able to stay in this game on the back of a couple of Gold Furies and some good farm. But now that that's gone, now that Rival are able to inch ahead with one Gold Fury, I think this is going to be the beginning of the end.
This is without a doubt the beginning of the end, just because Ezzuna now level 13, completely fallen off. Arachne's damage basically negligible at this point. Obsidian Shard is completed for Rapio. Looks like he's going to go straight into Rod of Tahuti for his 5th item. Now's the point where Bloakley and DineOhSaw not going to be tanky enough to handle Rapio, plus he has the execute that's easy to confirm on those characters. Very scary right now if you're on Cyclone.
And how's that Cyclone late game?
Not nearly as good as Rivals, but Rapio is caught out. Only option is to get enough damage to get out, but doesn't have it. Hyperionnn confirms the kill with the ultimate. That's a big pick. Stopping the farming from Rapio is huge right now.
That is 2 big ultimates coming out from CycloneGG to do that in the process, however, Hyperionnn and Bloakley. And with that down, that communication should be, that's a built-in wrath. Because that's down, you can go and start worrying about these objectives, not worrying about grouping up as much when you're trying to take these towers, because that looming danger isn't there anymore.
That's right. You get a little bit of space to breathe now if you're Cyclone, at least for the next 15 seconds. Then Rapio comes back. He's got Blink. He can engage on you easily, but like you mentioned, no purification available for the next little less than 2 minutes. However, no purification at all for Ezzuna. He has to be very wary about getting executed by Rapio. We saw it almost happen there. He could have been the way out, basically, for Rapio. As long as he's positioning well enough that he's not getting executed, he'll be fine, but he does need to be careful.
20 minutes and 45 seconds in, 14-9. These are numbers we're more used to seeing coming out from Rival, but it's taken them a little bit of a slog to get to this point.
That's true. It hasn't been a stomp by any stretch of the imagination. Cyclone definitely showing their worth thus far in Game 2, but Rival still looking super strong, and their late game still hasn't hit it yet. I mean, Rapio only level 17, Atonement only level 17. Atonement now finishing that 4th item, Obsidian Shard, and is going to be able to continue to do well.
Did Gnome DC again?
I don't know. Tough to say. Yeah, it looks like he did. But, you know, Rival's in a better spot this game.
Than they were last one, for sure.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, so as we go later and later in the game, we've seen how much of an impact Atonement can make overall.
Definitely.
They've been picking the correct fights in the jungle. He's able to use that Stellar Burst and Supernova combination to really reign through the jungle fights. And he didn't even have Obsidian Shard online. You know, he didn't have the penetration. He's going to be working into a Rod of Tahuti pretty soon. And that's when it's going to start to really, really shine. And still, Watson is still doing very effective damage with the build that he's gone for as well.
Zenborne doesn't want to see any of that damage that CycloneGG are dishing out. Going to be able to jump over the wall. The water clone going to be able to get Rapio out of the danger, and since they don't know where he is, he's going to be just fine. But he's going to turn around, try to aggress. Bloakley going to find him in the cage with the blink, but the tower damage going to come through maybe a little bit, but no, Rapio, he's done.
Mistimes the execute there. Ezzuna able to live until Gnome able to pick him up with that fearless. Now big two-man belly flop and intoxicate from Zenborne.
Intoxicate going to keep them busy for just a couple of seconds longer. Cyclone going to have a little bit of the heal coming out from the conviction, but Zenborne and Gnome still want to aggress. DineOhSaw showing that he still has plenty of signs of life.
And Gnome just wants to clear that wave on the right-hand side. This was what Cyclone's comp excels at, is these longer engagements.
Yeah, but the stun coming out, Hyperionnn not going to be able to dish out as much damage, but Zenborne going to be on the receiving end of a lot of it. The bird bomb, plus Bloakley does not want to let him up just yet, but Watson is here with one more hit, going to be able to take out the greedy Odin.
Great bait there by Zenborne. Now Hyperionnn in a ton of trouble, forced to use a Sanctuary so that Unravel doesn't kill him. Backflip, not enough damage either. Darkest of Nights makes it hard to see that Vulcan dancing around that tower. Gnome with the dunk, gonna find him, and now the root onto DineOhSaw.
And Watson just trying to clean up, taking a little bit of that damage for Gnome in the process, but DineOhSaw backing off, trying to run away, and Gnome has his number. He's chasing him. He's sticking to him like glue.
I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him. He does have the Winged Blade, which gives him the extra movement speed to try and catch up just off the mark with that root. But Ezzuna is back. They could be in trouble here, but Gnome's not scared. Look at the damage from that Fearless.
Yeah, Ezzuna's going to go ahead and back off. Didn't even have the opportunity to try and aggress on the two of them because he got pushed out so quickly. That displacement as well as the damage is ridiculous coming out from Tier. But Supernova coming down as soon as the Sanctuary goes away, so does Styley.
Great communication there. Do you see how fast that World Weaver came out from Watson? Just ready to go as soon as No Styley made the misplay. And that's exactly what that was a misplay. Using that Rising Jaguar aggressively in that scenario, not the right decision at all.
This is the rival that we're used to seeing now, taking out this Gold Fury, taking out plays and taking out towers. Now, Gold Fury already down less than 50%, nobody nearby, no ultimates close enough to try and take it, and they're gonna split the Gold Fury count 2 for 2.
And now that gold lead getting closer to 5K, and most importantly, lots of members hitting 20. Rapio blinking right past DineOhSaw, going right for Hyperionnn.
Nice.
Style points with the water illusion.
We were just talking about how much damage that does. The placement was absolutely perfect. Style points for sure. I want to see that in a GIF.
It was hot. Rapio again showing why he's the premier jungler right now in the FCL for my money. Tier 2 tower in the middle lane gonna go down. Ezzuna and DineOhSaw, not a whole lot they can do about it. And now Rival, only 2 towers left for them to take, whereas Cyclone has barely damaged any on the side of Rival.
I mean, to be fair, is there a whole lot that anybody from Cyclone can do about it?
I mean, they aren't down too much. It's only about 7,000 gold. The real problem is the experience difference. Almost 13,000 now, and you can see it in the levels already. I mean, the mid lane significantly far behind. You see Watson sitting at level 20, whereas Hyperionnn 1 in 5 sitting at level 16. You see a 3-level difference in solo, the jungle. You see actually it's DineOhSaw with a lead in the support, but Zenborne's totally okay with that, I'm sure. Now it's Atonement with the level lead in the ADC as well. So this level difference specifically between the mid and the jungle is really, really hurting Cyclone right now.
I feel like Zenborne does a lot more for the team as a whole. DineOhSaw able to bring in the conviction, bring in the heals, but the knockups, the intoxicate, the team fight presence coming out from Zenborne, I value a little bit more, especially with Rivals team comp.
They've both had very good games overall. DineOhSaw's been on point with his positioning overall, only dying twice thus far, and doing a good job of keeping everyone topped off. Some well-timed meditations early game really turned some fights into Cyclone's favor, but we've seen multi-man knockups, we've seen multi-man intoxicates from Zenborne. He's had an excellent game as well.
Definitely, but Rapio going to get chased by 2, maybe 3 members if we could see a little bit of a hefty pickup from the Vulcan, but going to be just fine. Turn their aggression back towards the mid lane.
And Vulcan just needs the farm right now. He's still level 16, only sitting at 21 stacks on that Book of Thoth. And he is top damage on his team, but that only counts for 5th highest damage in the game. You see Watson, Rapio, Gnome, and Atonement all sitting above him.
Yeah, Rival have a very solid lead when it comes to now, not only with the numbers, but also just the player damage. Their presence in these fights are so much bigger. They're worth so much more right now.
Without a doubt, and you see that Rapio has the Rod of Tahuti completed, as does Atonement. This is danger zone time for the rest of Cyclone. This is where it starts to get really, really scary.
Look at Gnome, absolutely no fear, just Watson in, trying to steal this camp. Meanwhile, the rest of the team starting up the Fire Giant. Gnome with the displacement, but Bloakley wants to come in with the damage. It's gonna dunk down, and that's gonna go to Team Arrival.
Ultimate off the mark there from Hyperionnn. Rapio just trying to retreat. A nice two-man cage, does catch 2 for the time being, but both are able to get out. Bloakley getting very, very low. There's the execute from Rapio, and next target should be Ezzuna. He's very low.
Very low indeed, but as soon as he comes down, there goes the ultimate to bring him right back up. But Rapio chasing down, wants to lock down the spider if he can. Instead, DineOhSaw gonna get fearless right into the wall and into 4 players of Team Rival. They're gonna split. They're gonna split for a little bit, not worry about the tower. Instead, onto DineOhSaw, but meanwhile, Gnome in the backline still looking for Hyperionnn.
There's the purification from Hyperionnn, backfires away, but Rapio chases him down. Now it's no Styley, walks back into the water illusion. Atonement with the kill. That's 4 dead on the side of Cyclone, 5 members of the Fire Giant for Rival.
It's just Ezzuna, and he's waiting to come around the corner with Rapio. Rapio gonna deal with these spiders. Ezzuna just trying to dash back as quick as possible. It's not enough damage to completely squash the bug, but it was pretty damn close.
Very, very close, and no decision to end there from Rival, probably due to this tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. If it was only 1 structure remaining, that Titan probably could have fallen, but a little bit risky with that 2 structures up, the tower and the Phoenix. Instead, Rival decided to just get everything off the map, save for that opposite side Phoenix, take away the red buff, take away the 2 Phoenixes. They're in a great spot to win this game.
Yeah, they're going through the jungle with a fine-tooth comb, taking the big things that Cyclone would definitely want, that experience and that gold, and plus the buffs. These all 5, nobody died, nobody really had much of an issue there, and they still all have the Fire Giant.
5 members with Fire Giant, when you're this far ahead and you already have 2 Phoenixes down, it's looking very, very bleak right now for Cyclone, sitting about 14,000 gold down, still only 1 level 20 on their side. I mean, we talked about how Hyperionnn was level 16 about 4 minutes ago, and he still only gained 1 level in that time. So he's going to need to hit a big ultimate that no one on the side of Rival is ready for. The 2 Sanctuaries can't go off for Watson and Atonement. If they want to win this fight, it's got to be a big ultimate from Hyperionnn, and it's got to be no Styley, just raining damage in.
And they know it's coming, though, because Rival have been denying every bit of experience and gold from Cyclone, especially Hyperionnn, just because, 1, he's the newbie on the team. It's going to be a little bit easier to pick on him than the established members of CycloneGG, but 2, because he's Vulcan. He can't really do much unless he's dishing out damage.
Exactly, and if you can get up into Vulcan's face, it makes it a lot harder for him to feel comfortable in doing that long-range damage that he excels so much at. And you can see Rapio right now just waiting for Vulcan to come up to this right-hand wave. He wants to kill him again before the fight even starts.
They have their picks, and they know exactly who they're going for. Rapio knows his job in this game. DineOhSaw gonna get stunned out just a little bit, but nothing too much to worry about quite yet. Rapio's still waiting for Hyperionnn. As soon as he hears that turret, he's gonna charge right on forward. There's the blink, but there's a Sanctuary.
That's a huge trade-off right now, but Rapio could get caged in. There it is. Vulcan ult should be coming down on top of this. He gets very low, but not enough to kill him quite yet. No Styley gets the kill. This is perfect for Cyclone.
Supernova ripping through, not able to lock anybody down, and Ezzuna gonna get squashed by Gnome. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is still down. Atonement doesn't have anything to worry about quite yet. Instead, focusing all of his attention onto DineOhSaw. Gnome gonna come over the wall. There goes the Lawbringer, there goes the Fearless, and now DineOhSaw's still alive, but barely.
Just barely, and it's Bloakley trying to zone out the damage dealers, but he's the one getting zoned out from his own fountain. Watson hits the root, gets the last kill as well. 7 kills now. Hyperionnn forced to use Purification from Gnome's Fearless, but he's got to run away.
There's the knock-up and the pitch, and Hyperionnn going to be able to get away just fine. Atonement into this Apparate, but at this point, that's pretty much been a successful defense thus far for Cyclone.
You didn't lose, and that's about as much as you can say for Cyclone. They do lose a couple members, 2 to be exact. They lose their final Phoenix. Now it's 3 waves of fire minions pouring into their base.
They're gonna have their hands full. They're gonna have their hands completely full and tied, worrying about all 3 lanes with the fire minions. So at this point, Rival, if they want the Gold Fury, they can take it if it comes back up. Fire Giant's gonna be up sooner, so I'd prefer to see them head towards the right side, take that, because they're gonna be risking the Winions if Cyclone step out of base.
Cyclone, just like you mentioned, they've got their hands tied, nowhere to go. They have to defend the Phoenixes, and they also have to try and defend this Fire Giant. They should really give up that Fire Giant. The buff, not going to make the biggest difference in the world whenever you're this far ahead for Rival. It won't allow Cyclone to really fight into them any easier, and it won't allow Rival to end the game a whole lot easier either.
No, I'm going to turn this corner, see Ezzuna working on this buff. He's going to drop the spiders, and, I mean, the buff's gone, so at that point, it's okay. But Ezzuna not going to be able to get there because Gnome's going to keep zoning them out for the next 30 seconds.
Gnome is the wall right now. There's no one who's going to be able to pass by him. There's going to be a free Fire Giant for Rival, the second one of the game. Both Phoenixes in mid and right have respawned on the side of CycloneGG, but there are still multiple waves of Fire Minions in each lane to defend.
And, I mean, at this point, Rapio just has to go sneeze on the right Phoenix, and it's probably going to fall just by how quickly he can dish out a lot of damage, even though it's just the Phoenix.
With that Polynomicon giving you extra damage on your next auto attack, that is one of the few auto attack enhancers that actually does work up against a Phoenix or Tower. So you're right, Rapio can do this very quickly, as can Gnome, or as can Atonement, and as can Watson.
And they're gearing up, getting ready for it. Bloakley charging up, looking for the target to jump in on. If I were him, it'd be Atonement, but DineOhSaw gonna stop it and go ahead early on with the 2-man stun. Coming through the Intoxicate, already dishing out the damage in the backline. The Vulcan ultimate gonna do it, but not enough. The backflip coming out from Bloakley as well, but Ezzuna gonna get a lot of supernova damage, and he's still forced out into the back while Rapio and Watson keep cleaning up house.
That's 2 down on the side of Cyclone. Rival able to just do whatever they want right now. Rapio blinks in, misses the Wild Storm 3, but it doesn't really matter. Actually, it looks like they want to back up a little bit. Maybe just heal with this Fire Giant regen that they get, allow that left-hand wave to be effective.
They're still split up because you still cannot ignore the Fire Minions at this point. Hyperionnn gonna take a lot of damage, and Gnome gonna have to dash out to avoid the just absolutely catastrophic damage coming out from the Fountain, but they're gonna turn all of their sights onto DineOhSaw and the Titan. Styley gonna get taken out. The Lawbringer gonna help finish off this Titan, and boys and girls, gonna be a split.
Rapio finishes 2 people off in the Fountain as Kuang. Split here between Rival and Cyclone. Tough second game there for Cyclone, but at the end of the day, they got the one win that they really wanted, sitting very good in control of their own destiny going into next week.
They have 1 point over Excellence, or Excel. That was my mistake.
There it is.
And then 2 points, and then 2 points under that is Excellence.
So again, Cyclone controlling their own destiny next week up against Excellence, the bottom-seeded team. If they're able to secure that 2-0, would secure their spot for LAN, which is what everyone's playing for here.
Definitely. And I mean, speaking of everybody playing, Rival with Rapio, we talked about him a lot during that game. One of the, probably you say, the best jungler in the SCO, and we see it on this Kuang.
Right now, yeah, I just think Rapio is a little bit ahead of junglers like CycloneGG, Jelly, and Chapo in North America. There's really no jungler in Europe that can compare to him right now for my money. It just so smooth, everything he does, always calculated, and does take a little bit more farm from his solo and mid laner that you'd probably like to see him do. That's where he gets a lot of his leads from, but it just plays so well. They give him these carry-style gods. You see him on gods like Fenrir, on gods like Kuang, gods that he can make a huge impact with, and he does it very well.
Any final thoughts?
Rival is way, 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 way better than everyone in Europe.
You said that you said the same exact thing last time, maybe with a couple of less ways. But
It's still
Rival,
true.
they've already secured their spot at LAN. Next week, we're going to see probably the bloodiest matches that we've seen in a very long time, both for NA and EU. NA will be on Monday, EU again on Tuesday. But if you can't wait that long, SPL Group B will be starting with the LAN on Friday. So we'll see you then and next week.